The acquisition of Activision Blizzard King by Microsoft has been the talking point in the gaming community for the entire year. Recently, Sony tried to block the deal through the Brazilian regulatory gate, Microsoft fired shots back, and now parts of Sony's contracts with third-party publishers have leaked, and they reveal paragraphs that are in a very grey area. But Xbox has a response to these business practices, and they revolve around value. So let's talk about this. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with a video that is probably going to be a controversial one, because the latest leaked documents really do not put Sony in a good light, but Microsoft has a fantastic answer and we discussed this. But first you should treat yourself and set your player to full 4K 60 FPS to get the best audiovisual experience I can deliver to you. And while you're at it, it would be awesome of you to consider to also hit the like and subscribe button, and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys so much for the support, you rock big time, and now let's dive into Xbox, PlayStation and their business practices. And followers of this channel know that I definitely do not dive into the whole console war discussion, but when something happens where either of them drops the ball, it's time to discuss it. So, many of you probably remember that a couple of days ago different statements from different publishers towards the Brazilian regulatory gate were made about the acquisition of ABK by Microsoft, and all the big publishers such as Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, Google, Apple, Bandai Namco, etc. really didn't have any issues with Microsoft acquiring ABK, because there's still plenty of competition, not just in the general gaming market, but as you remember, Sony pointed out that Call of Duty in particular is a genre of its own and that there wouldn't be any competition. They've also pointed out that Xbox owning Call of Duty is gonna influence the choice of customers towards a console, etc. I'm not gonna repeat everything because that's not why we are here, but to make the story whole, Microsoft also responded with actually quite an unusual clear statement and a strong wording. One disclaimer up front, this was translated from Portuguese, so some nuances might be lost in translation, but Team Xbox had to say the following. Only one third party, Sony, presented materially different opinions than the applicants and the other third party consulted by the SG. And I mean, yeah, that's obvious that Sony has probably a lot stronger feelings about the ABK acquisition, because publishers like Warner Brothers or Ubisoft are not directly influenced by this acquisition, while Sony gets stronger competition. However, the big important part that I want to focus here in this video is that Microsoft has accused Sony of paying other developers for blocking rights to prevent those developers to add their content to Gamepass. And with a new leak of a contract, this statement was justified. But one thing after the other, Microsoft said the following about Sony. Indeed, Microsoft's ability to continue expanding Gamepass has been obstructed by Sony's desire to inhibit such growth. Sony pays for blocking rights to prevent developers from adding content to Gamepass and other competing subscription services. Considering that exclusivity strategies have been at the core of Sony's strategy to strengthen its own presence in the gaming industry, and that Sony is a leader in the distribution of digital games, Sony's concern with possibly exclusivity of Activision content is incoherent to say the least. Like I said, these are very unusual, strong words from Microsoft, but I can imagine that Microsoft doesn't want to play nice anymore, because if you look at the latest leak, and I'll link the full source in the description down below, Sony has some weird paragraphs in their contracts. Not only do those contracts with third-party developers hinder them from putting games into Game Pass, but also the third-party publishers have to reveal the financial offer from Microsoft for bringing games into Game Pass, so that Sony has a 60-day period of putting out a counter offer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer, but even to me this sounds kind of iffy, because with that Sony gets a direct view into the monetization models that Microsoft is offering to their partners. And if I were Microsoft, obviously I would try to fight that. So Microsoft had to say the following in their statement to the regulatories. Sony does not want attractive subscription services to threaten its dominance in the digital distribution market for console games. In other words, Sony rails against the introduction of new monetization models capable of challenging its business model. Okay, let's be real here. What this statement from Microsoft and this entire dispute in between Sony and Microsoft is coming down to is the way how the two different companies want to gain customers. Team Xbox is obviously trying to provide customers value through Game Pass, through an open ecosystem and through choices for customers. On the other hand, Sony is trying to gain customers by providing exclusive content. And don't get me wrong, they've done a good job so far this generation. PlayStation owners such as myself definitely have the chance to play exclusive content. However, However, for a customer, and I'm not talking here about the blind fanboys on both sides, but for the educated customer, there is a significant difference if you think about why you would enter either one of these ecosystems. And obviously, Sony is threatened by all the value that Microsoft is providing with the service, and their statement about Call of Duty influencing the choice of potential customers towards one of the consoles is not just a thing about Call of Duty. This leaked contract obviously shows us that they are not just threatened by Call of Duty, but by any third-party game coming into Game Pass. This is really a weird behavior considering that Sony just launched their own subscription service, but we have seen in the past that Sony is not really behind a subscription model. Statements such as day one first-party games would reduce the quality of the games, or who wants to play old games, or subscription models are not sustainable are still relatively fresh in the minds of gamers. Now, with Activision Blizzard King being part of Microsoft and gamers getting not just instantly access to their legacy titles through Game Pass, but also getting day one access to the next Call of Duty, Diablo, Overwatch, etc. This is providing value. And Sony, well, they spend a lot of money for not just getting third-party exclusive or timed exclusive deals, but they actually spend money to keep games off of Game Pass. So instead of spending money to lock content behind their closed system, I would rather see them spend the money to provide us gamers value. Put games day and date into PS Plus Extra instead of spending millions to keep Final Fantasy VII Remake off of Xbox. I've said it before, we as gamers don't have a benefit from third-party exclusive deals. It does not change anything for us if a gamer on another platform can play a game or not, but getting games in a subscription service, especially day one, is actually generating a benefit for me as a gamer. So yeah, to wrap it up, Sony does really not look good in this entire conversation. To say it with the words of Microsoft, Sony rails against the introduction of new monetization models capable of challenging its business model. Or in my own words, Sony is not looking to provide gamers with value. I know value is subjective. For example, some might think there is value in increasing game prices. That's how they started this generation. But to me as a customer, I have to pay $10 more to play the same games. So it has nothing to do with generating more value for the customer. You can tell that they really try to open up their ecosystem. More and more games dropping on PC, but still not day one. They have a subscription service. Granted, a bit more expensive than Game Pass and especially without day and date. So they are dipping their toes into what Microsoft has been doing for years now, but dipping your toe into the water is not getting you anywhere. You actually have to jump in order to swim. So I have no doubt that the statements from Sony will have no impact on the outcome of the ABK deal. But that's the weird part. Sony must have known that these discussions will be public and there's no way that they can come out of this looking like the good guy. Be that as it may, I hope you found this video interesting, and if you did so, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel with the channel memberships to get early access to all my videos, with the super thanks in the comment sections, and of course the super chats, and simply being there at the weekly gaming show I have here on my channel. And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching, I see you the next time, and game on!